Welcome everyone to our today's session. My name is René Treuber. I'm product manager at Axaio Software, and we are part of this launch event not only because we are a sister company of callas software, but we are OEM customers since quite some time, way over 10 years now, and we're using pdfToolbox technology in our tool MadeToPrint to boost the output possibilities out of Adobe Indesign. And I will today show how we do that. I will first give a short overview over MadeToPrint, and then go into a live demonstration on the features we use. And with the new pdfToolbox 13 just released, we have even more capabilities to boost the output. So Axaio Software itself is we are plugin developers for applications like Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InCopy, or even Quark Express. Our main goal there is to automate the whole print output and export process that you are going through in your graphic industry, publishing industry, or packaging industry. And our customers are widespread throughout all industries, being it publishing houses, catalog producers, ad agencies, and you name it. MadeToPrint is one of our main tools. It's mainly the output automation engine. So the goal is to automate the output, to standardize it, to secure the output process, and even make it more efficient directly out of your preferred layout application. So today we will talk more about InDesign plugin, but most of the stuff also applies to the other applications. So one part is the productivity that we increase, and we do that by so you can automate the output to all different output formats. You can export to like PDF, which might be the main one, but also JPEG, InDesign packages, and so on. With MadeToPrint, you can do that in you can export to different formats at the same time. You can do that in parallel. You can store multiple of your output settings that you have to go through just in one automated output job. So for example, if you have your final InDesign layout ready, then you can print, export, and archive that in just one go. Also with MadeToPrint, you can help that by output to predefined target passes, so you don't need to think about where to put your output to. It will automatically be written to the correct location, and we do that by standardizing the file output with tokens or variables. So you just once need to think about the target pass, and then it will automatically be used. Same as that you can include scripting in your MadeToPrint output workflow, so you can even individualize all of your output tasks to a high end. And also, if you're working with layers, you can output different layer combinations to different output variants, and that also just one click away. MadeToPrint also secures the output, doing that by using preflight technology, using InDesign preflight, or using our own preflight to check if all fonts and images are available to the output process, for example. You also can do a post check, so preflight on your generated PDF file. That's one part where you can, or where we use the pdfToolbox technology for. And also if there's any error, then the MadeToPrint job can create an output report and you know what's going on with your output. And you can be sure that each output that is, so each PDF that comes out at the end will have a decent quality and always the same quality. Further advantage of MadeToPrint is that we have different output or different automation modes. So whatever you will need, we have you covered. So we're starting with the MadeToPrint standard automation. That's a desktop plugin in InDesign desktop, where you can have the output triggered by yourself. So you just choose which output you go to. But if you need further automation, we also have MadeToPrint Auto available. That will have the same functionality as a MadeToPrint standard version, but it also adds a hot folder mechanism, so you can have MadeToPrint Auto run on a dedicated machine. And as soon as InDesign files come into the hot folder, they will be processed according to your settings. And then we also have the InDesign server variant, so MadeToPrint Server. It's a true server solution based on the InDesign server. So, And also MadeToPrint itself can be integrated into several workflow systems or editorial systems like Woodwing Studio, Vue K4 or Infocus Switch. So if you are using that kind of products, you can include MadeToPrint, and you may not know even that you're using MadeToPrint because it's just running in the background and creating PDFs. So with that being said, we are now coming to the main part of the presentation. And yeah, I will go now into the demo mode. Right, so just hide that. So I'm going over to my InDesign. Oops. I have our flyer ready to be outputted. It has two spreads, so the front page and the back page. And if I could just export that with InDesign, but as I want to show MadeToPrint, we are available via File, MadeToPrint, and this will open the run dialog where I already have set up a bunch of jobs. So that are the jobs that are available for output. And I can also go into the edit mode to show you what you can set up. So the main focus on the layout here is that you have a list of available output tasks or output jobs. And for each output job, in the middle you have the output, the features which are available. And for each of those features, you have the settings you can do there. So for example, for my MadeToPrint PDF, I can choose which output I want to go to. I have here PDF, but I can use any other format InDesign supports. And also with that, I can choose the InDesign export preset that is already available in your InDesign. So like high quality print or even my own. So I want to have PDF with marks. Additionally, you can predefine the file name. So in this case, I want to have it on my desktop path. So I want to have it on my desktop in a subfolder MadeToPrint and results. And then I also have a token for the date. So I want to have a subfolder with the current year, as well as a subfolder with the current year and months. And then I have my output, my actual output folder. And those tokens are just variables, various variables. So you can have document information put into the path or document name. You can ask the customer to input values. Or if you're working with editorial systems or with Switch, you can also access job ticket metadata. So access data from the external system. And those folders will be created automatically, so you don't have to bother if they are already available or not. Same applies for the destination file name. In this case, I also want to have single page output. So for each document spread, in this case, I want to have one PDF file. I also have a pre-flight included, so I only want output if all fonts and links are available. And if not, I want to hold the processing and show show the error, so which font is missing or which image is not available. And also I want to show the PDF after exporting, so that's it. So I close the edit mode, and now I'm selecting my MadeToPrint PDF output job. I will first go into my result folder, so you see it's empty. And then I now click on Run, and MadeToPrint will in the background create the PDF and also open that in pdfToolbox in this case. So now you see I have my marks PDF, so my PDF is printer marks. I have my back page and my front page. It's the name is as I expected it to be, and if I repeat the output with other files, or if I repeat the output with that file, I will always be sure that I have the same output. And if I go into my results folder, you also see that it created the subfolders as well as the two PDF files. So going back to MadeToPrint, first we go to the InDesign PDF export presets. So as you might know, there are a couple of presets available, and from InDesign you can only export to pdfx1, pdfx3 and pdfx4. So if you want to have any other output standards, like with the new pdfToolbox 13, we can now also support the export to pdfx6. So if I go to MadeToPrint again, I have another job where I choose in my PDF post process that I want to execute a pdfToolbox profile. And in this case, it's the convert to pdfx6. You can use any pdfToolbox profile in here. So you can go to pdfToolbox and export your process plan or your profile, or you can even go to Adobe Acrobat pre-flight and export the profile from there. So if I now close and run this pdf6 thing, you will see it will create the PDF in the background, and then convert the PDF to pdfx6. So now it's here in pdfToolbox, and on the bottom you already see that it's valid or it claims to be a pdfx6. And if I click on here, it will validate that, and you show that it's actually a pdfx6 directly out of InDesign. Same applies for other output formats like PDFA. So if I edit here, in this case I just have another pdfToolbox profile selected. So in this case I want to convert to PDFA1. I can do that, but I want to show another feature of MadeToPrint, and that are job sets. So in this case, I can combine different output tasks, output jobs into one job set. So in this case, I have included my pdfx6 output as well as my PDFA output. And if I apply here and close that, if I select that, and I'm deleting the files here in result, and if I now run this job, what MadeToPrint actually will do, it will first create a pdfx6 in particular, and then it will create a PDFA. So you see already my pdfX6 is already opened. And the same should be the case for the PDFA in a second, right? So now I also have the PDFA exported. And as you see, also the specifications of the PDF are totally different. So I have marks in my pdfX6, but I don't have marks in my PDFA file. So that's also with just one click in InDesign, you can create multiple output formats and multiple PDF standards out of InDesign. Another nice feature for the new PDF toolbox is that you can also create files that are both PDFA and pdfX. And also, again, for that case, I created another pdfToolbox profile. And if I close that, I don't want to save, and I run that profile, you would see that, again, it will output to this result folder. But in this case, it will create a PDF file that claims to be PDFA as well as pdfX. So also that's a nice feature. If you need that, it's not possible in InDesign, but you can do with MadeToPrint. And you can do that directly, more or less directly out of InDesign. Okay, so another feature I want to show is that that's actually a customer support case we had. There's a bug in InDesign that let me open another document first to show that. So if you have a linked PDF in InDesign, which have a link, which you see here on the bottom, and you export that with InDesign, you won't get any links. So you see, if I now just export using InDesign, so I have to select the path and do other things. So now the InDesign file, the PDF file was created by InDesign. And if I go to Acrobat, you can also see that the links are not available. So it's just plain text, there are no links. And even in the ad, I don't have any link below. But the customer wanted to do that, wanted to have that. So with the new pdfToolbox 13, we are able to do so because there's a profile that will add links to URLs in the PDF. So if I close that and run that profile, and I also want to point out that you can run MadeToPrint profiles or MadeToPrint jobs from the menu. And one advantage here is that you could also add keyboard shortcuts to that. So then it is really a one-click output solution. So if I do that, MadeToPrint will output the PDF, post-process it in pdfToolbox. And if I now go back to Acrobat, you see that the link is, I can move it over a bit, that the link is actually a link, and same applies for the linked PDF file. So we have the links available and met the customer expectations with that. That's a new feature in pdfToolbox 13. So you not only can add links to the PDF file, but you can also use regex to search for links. So it's even more flexible to have those links created. And another question that came up from customers, they wanted to create a PDF that is rastered, so the image will be, so the actual PDF won't contain any fonts or graphics alone. So they wanted to provide the PDF on their website, but with various website viewers in Chrome or Firefox, the PDF looked not as expected because there were some issues. So what they wanted to do is to rasterize the PDF, but they want to keep the actual text to be selectable and able to be copied. So also with that, we have a new profile that is raster and text copy. And what it will actually do is it will output the PDF, then it will, okay, it's a wrong document. I will open my flyer again. So with the MadeToPrint setting here, I can execute the job, I can run the job, and then it will create the PDF, it will raster the PDF, and at the end it will create a text copy of the actual text in the PDF. So as you can see, this will now have selectable text. But if I zoom in, you would see that the text actually is rasterized. So it's not, it's the actual PDF is not does not contain the original font. It's a rasterized PDF, but there's an invisible text above the original text, and that's why you can copy it here. So that have been the MadeToPrint jobs where we actually use pdfToolbox profiles, but we also have pdfToolbox SDK integrated in a non-profile way, if we want to name it that way. One is for the processing steps metadata, and therefore I will open another document. So if you're familiar with processing steps metadata, then you should notice that. If not, we have Made4Layers as another tool which can handle layers in the document. And with Made4Layers, we also have the possibility to add the processing steps metadata. So those processing steps metadata are an ISO standard for defining those processing steps. So for example, I have one layer that is it's in the positions group and it's for barcodes. I have other layers which are defining the cutting area, so the structural cutting or structural creasing as well. And if you outputted such kind of file with MadeToPrint, we will automatically we'll automatically take those layers or those layer information and assign that to the PDF, so that in your PDF you also have the structural metadata available. And with that, the same feature exists in the Illustrator version of MadeToPrint. So if you create your packages in InDesign or Illustrator, doesn't matter, but you can throughput the metadata to the PDF, so you have a whole workflow available. And if I'm here into the layer, explore layer panel in callas pdfToolbox, you would see that also the structure metadata or the processing steps metadata is available here. So that helps you to create your workflow from the original layout document, so the InDesign or Illustrator file, up into the PDF file. And another feature we use in MadeToPrint is the imposition. So here I have my business cards, I have my deck card or my front card, and I have the content sides, the back sides of the business card. What we can do in MadeToPrint here is, I just show the setting. So we have the imposition tab, and here you can choose the run list and the sheet configuration. And if you have ever exported or imposed a file in pdfToolbox, this should be familiar. So it's the actual pdfToolbox run list and the pdfToolbox sheet configuration. And we deliver some along with our installation, but you can always use your own configuration. So just click on the Manage dialog, Manage button, and you would see I have a list of run lists and sheet configs here. So just put your own in there. And for the output here, I also have a page range that I selected because I only have 3 actual business cards, but I want to have 8 on the page. So I just choose the combinations. So I want my first page, which is the cover, and the second page. I want the cover and the third page, the cover and the fourth page. And then I just fill up. So I have my cover and the second page again, my cover and the third page, and so on. And if I now run that MadeToPrint job, I will get my fully imposed PDF. So that's the page with the front pages, and that's with the actual content pages. So that's mainly the jobs I wanted to show you. We have additional ones that we can run, but they don't work in the current pre-release version we are using. So we expect them to be available in the final release. But what you can do, for example, is with the post-processing, you have your place barcode profile, and that could also make use of the processing steps metadata, so it will automatically place the barcode onto the page in that area where the document expected to be. And also, if the pdfToolbox profile contains variables, you can select them. It will automatically place your variable names here, and you can have your own value. So in this case, you would enter the actual barcode value, barcode number, and you can not only hard code it here into the job, you can also ask the user or use job ticket metadata. So from for example, a switch workflow, and then it will automatically create the correct barcode into the correct positions in your layout. And as I already mentioned, you can also include your own profile. So whatever you need to do with your PDF or with your output, just put it in pdfToolbox profile or Acrobat Preflight profile, and then you will get what you need. So for example, you could have a split processing steps metadata layers into separate files. So at the end, you should get different PDFs depending on the metadata. And with that being said, I'm out of my live demo. If you're interested in MadeToPrint and want to learn more about it, you can always request a demo. You can do that on our website, axaio.com/MadeToPrint, and you can try it out yourself. There's also a download link which will enable you to have a 30-day free trial version. And with that, thank you for listening. And if there are any questions in the chat, we can answer them. No questions? So yeah, thanks again for listening and take care.